Welcome to my first YouTube video, where I will explore how I managed to change the underlying structure of my facial bones long after puberty. The problem we will solve in this video is how to alter your craniofacial structure at the level of the bone. I've seen countless videos on glowing up, but all the advice is soft and given by guys with a good underlying bone structure. I know what you're thinking, changing your facial structure after puberty. What's next? A tutorial on growing taller using just your thoughts. Stay tuned, and no promises on the height thing. Before we dive in, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel, as this will let me know you are interested and want to see more. Now let's get started. In every good plan, there is a mechanism of action that will be exploited. In our case, that is the cranial sutures coupled with light force over time. Contrary to popular belief, the skull is not a solid piece of bone. It is actually made up of 22 different bones, bound together by sutures. In theory, these sutures are soft and allow for the repositioning of the facial bones, given properly applied forces. By now, you might be wondering why sutures even exist. Wouldn't it make more sense for the skull to be a solid piece of bone? Actually, no. Aside from their role in development, sutures have a second role that continues at every age: craniosacral fluid circulation. Craniosacral fluid, or CSF for short, is the blood of your brain. The brain is separated from the regular blood supply by the blood-brain barrier to prevent pathogens and ion imbalances from disrupting its homeostasis, yet it still needs some kind of circulation to get rid of waste and receive nutrients. That's where CSF comes in. The CSF is circulated inside your skull and spinal column, in contrast to your actual blood, although there is no heart to pump the CSF, but a more intricate, delicate way that intimately involves the cranial sutures. This may shock you, but your skull is the pump. Simply put, every time you inhale, your skull ever so slightly expands, sucking the CSF in, and every time you exhale, it goes back to its original shape, letting the CSF flow to your spinal column. This constant cycle of expansion and contraction is facilitated by the sutures. We have to soften the sutures up if we are going to get any results out of the remodeling exercises, and that means that we have to leave the parasympathetic fight or flight state. Before we do that, though, we will get rid of all the built-up tension from years of tightness. This tension accumulates in the body's fascia, a network of muscle-like tissue that covers your whole body and skull. Lie down on your bed, close your eyes, and breathe normally for a few seconds. Then, forcefully, take in the deepest breath you can until you cannot physically get more air in. Now, use your tongue to block the air from coming out, and relax your diaphragm. When your diaphragm is tensed, the air is kept at normal pressure because your diaphragm is artificially expanding your lungs. So when you relax it, the pressure from the air will increase towards your chest. As the air pushes hard on your chest, you will feel a deep stretch as your chest and ribcage expand outwards, and you will get a buzz of energy. You might even feel lightheaded. Do this a few times until you stop feeling pressure when you do it. You have now successfully gotten rid of the built-up tension. If your mum comes in the room, just say you are edging. Now that the tension is gone, we will reignite the CSF flow. We will do that by engaging the fascia network of the spine. Sit up on your bed, rest your back against the wall, and close your eyes. As you inhale, concentrate on the sensations the air creates as it moves down its path. You first feel it in your nostrils, then it curves down to the back of your throat, traveling down your windpipe, entering into the upper lungs, and finally reaching the lower lungs. As the air first reaches the bottom, but before the inhale is over, concentrate your focus on the bottom of your spine, right above your pelvis. As you continue to inhale, visualize a ring around the bottom of your spine, tensing and moving up, carrying the craniosacral fluid with it. Right around when your inhale stops, the CSF will reach your skull. At that moment, you will start to hear light cracking and popping sounds coming from inside your head as the CSF flows in. That is your sutures beginning to mobilize. You are quite literally destroying a year's worth of calcification with your breathing. Keep doing this for a few minutes. Congratulations, you succeeded in softening up your sutures. What you will do now is use your newfound suture mobility, coupled with correctly applied forces, to change the positioning of your facial bones. You have probably heard of mewing already, where you push your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and you have probably heard of how it only really works on young people, if at all. This is because almost everyone who tries it is suffering from calcified sutures, plus doing it wrong. To do mewing correctly, you have to keep in mind two things. One is that mewing does not work if you try to force it, meaning that you should not use excessive pressure to try and force change, rather apply gentle pressure to cure your bones into changing. The second thing is that correct mewing is not done by simply pushing up. You also need pulling. The center of your tongue should pull on the center of your palate to over time make it wider, while the outer parts of your tongue should push up. To achieve this, you need to create suction between your tongue and the roof of your mouth. To get a feeling for it, go grab a glass of water, take a sip of it in your mouth, and with your teeth touching, form a wide, open smile without letting the water escape. Now swallow the water without letting your teeth stop touching. The feeling you get when you are midway to swallowing is the suction plus pressure we aim at getting. Once you figure out exactly how it feels like, keep your tongue posture like that at all times. This will cure your bones into slowly repositioning relative to one another, provided that you have done the work we mentioned before on your sutures. Now that we got the big things out of the way, let's get into some bonuses. Bonus 1, a key to success you should keep in mind at all times is to make sure you have good overall posture as you go through your day. This sounds mundane but is very important, as poor posture restricts the flow of CSF and makes holding the correct tongue posture difficult. Overall posture is also very important, as it signifies to your body whether you are in danger or not. Poor posture, as we explained before, is your body preparing for danger. What I also did while I was practicing everything else was hard chewing. Hard chewing is very beneficial, as the vibrations it creates are useful for softening up the sutures further, as well as for developing a thicker mandible with a longer ramus, giving your face the square jawline look and the hollow cheek effect. I will link the gum I use below, though it is very tough and you should not get it if you are a beginner. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and ask questions below. I will make a video on the most asked ones.